Could Donald Trump be experiencing a genuine transformation into a staunch advocate for Ukraine? This intriguing question took center stage during discussions at the UN General Assembly in New York, especially after Trump made a surprising declaration that caught many officials off guard. In a recent post on Truth Social, he boldly claimed that Ukraine not only has the potential to win its ongoing conflict with Russia, but can also reclaim every inch of territory it has lost. This statement is significant for two main reasons. Firstly, it starkly contrasts with his earlier claims that Ukraine stood little chance against its much larger adversary. Secondly, it directly opposes the previous stance of his administration, which suggested that the war should conclude with a negotiated settlement that would require Ukraine to concede some territory to Russia. European Union officials, trying to decipher this apparent shift in Trump's position, found themselves torn between excitement and skepticism. They noted that Trump is known for frequently altering his views, raising concerns that he might revert to a less supportive stance after a conversation with another leader. This unpredictability complicates the efforts of European leaders to formulate a coherent response to the ongoing conflict and the recent provocations from Russia, which have extended beyond Ukraine's borders into European airspace. Despite the mixed feelings, the immediate reaction from the European delegation was one of cautious optimism regarding Trump's new, assertive tone. "This is the most pro-Ukraine statement we've seen from him yet," remarked one EU official present in New York. However, we must remember that he's always just one phone call from Putin away from changing his mind. During a meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron, Trump shared insights into his evolving perspective, expressing disappointment in his relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin. "I thought stopping this war would be straightforward due to my rapport with Putin, but unfortunately, that relationship hasn't yielded the results I hoped for," he stated in his formal address to the UN Assembly earlier that day. Trump emphasized that Putin's inability to achieve victory in Ukraine was not making Russia look good. He further reinforced his stance by affirmatively responding to a question about whether NATO countries should intercept Russian aircraft that violate their airspace, a situation that has become increasingly common. Macron welcomed Trump's comments, highlighting the ongoing decline of the Russian economy and expressing appreciation for the U.S. President's belief in Ukraine's capability not just to endure, but to demand respect for its rights. For European leaders who have spent considerable time persuading Trump that Putin is solely responsible for the war, this apparent change in Trump's attitude felt like a validation of their diplomatic efforts. Kallas, Europe's top diplomat, expressed her approval of Trump's statement, suggesting it indicated a newfound alignment and understanding. "He's made a very strong statement that we hadn't heard before, which really shows we are on the same page now," she remarked to reporters outside the UN Security Council building. This shift may also bring relief to European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, who has faced criticism for being overly accommodating towards Trump, particularly regarding a US-EU trade deal that many viewed as a humiliation for Brussels. Now, her strategy appears to be bearing fruit, at least concerning Ukraine. In a meeting with Trump just hours before his Truth Social post, von der Leyen reiterated her stance, stating Trump is absolutely right about the necessity for Europe to reduce its dependence on Russian energy. "We're on it," she assured. The relationship between von der Leyen and Trump has evolved significantly since his inauguration, according to an EU official who spoke on the condition of anonymity. The European Commission president now frequently communicates with Trump, using these calls to inform him about critical issues, including Russia's attacks on the EU mission in Ukraine and the abduction of Ukrainian children by Russian forces. On Tuesday, Trump engaged in a very in-depth discussion with von der Leyen regarding the EU's latest sanctions against Russia, showing particular interest in measures aimed at Chinese assets. We're witnessing the results of Europe consistently following through on its commitments, while Russia often fails to uphold its promises, the EU official noted. However, amid the initial surprise and optimism, several EU officials and diplomats expressed deeper skepticism, suggesting that Trump's post might merely be a tactic to provoke Putin, without leading to any substantial change in U.S. policy. After months of efforts to persuade Trump to impose tariffs or sanctions on Russia's economy, European hopes for meaningful U.S. support are dwindling. Trust in Trump's statements, no matter how encouraging they may seem, is rapidly eroding. Fortunately, but also unfortunately for us, what Trump says on a Monday is often not what he says on a Tuesday, remarked an ally of French President Emmanuel Macron. So what do you think? Is this a genuine shift in Trump's stance? Or just another fleeting moment of political theater? Share your thoughts in the comments below.